Okay, now what if they're imposing to say that animals can become humans and
There is. You can call yourself as a fur or something, and you can be a cat. You can identify as a cat. you can.
yeah, so now
All you have to do is this.
yeah.
We don't really have to care about American politics, but the problem is whatever happens in America eventually happens to the rest of the world. It spreads.
And why do you think so? But it's very simple. Because the whole world is mandated or responsible or trading on dollars. So because your currency is dollars, you have no other choice but listen to the trends and the falls and the rises of the dollar.
You need to think if 10 years back or 20 years back, if someone told me I'm a she, you're going to put them in a mental hospital.
Yeah, you're right. I get that. The agenda is what? Getting people confused, destroying manhood. This is the whole agenda of the whole system at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like someone said, the best way to destroy a country is from the inside. What if you get a CV which has a pronoun in? Are you accepting that candidate?
No, I would
Because
not.
you need to call them, when you hire them, you need to call them they, them.
No, definitely not.
Suddenly out of nowhere, halfway through the movie, they started making out.
Damn.
Yeah, no warning at all.
But the entire thing is demonic.
You are a Christian, we are living in an Islamic country, I'm an atheist, born a Hindu. We all agree. that's demonic.
Because if you see, have you noticed this? Anytime you watch something ugly or something that ugly, I'm talking about like anything that is pleasureful or anything which is little.
Porn.
I mean, you talk about A-rated.
Okay.
I'm a diplomatic person, so I approach everything diplomatic. So maybe if you had to speak it
Porn.
out, it's fine. Okay, whatever it is. Life is all about business. Either you record profits or you record losses.
Okay, so what do you do for fun, boss?
Okay, for example, if I think of an idea and I put that in a paper and I check with 5 people and they say this works, and that's fun for me. I'm excited about it. I said, yeah, let's go. This works.
Okay, Sam, don't have fun. Up to you.
Hello, viewers. It's good to be back here again for the Ace&Beyond Show. We are yet to begin with the second episode, and we are very glad for everyone who is part of our show here. And we're good to have Saga here with us. Yes, Saga, how are you doing today?
Good, Sam. It's been, we took a break of 1 month, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about a month. We took a break on a month.
Yeah, the first episode, I was like, it was too dark for me. It was too congested for me. And we had to find a different studio. And you had your business trips. How was your business trip, by the way?
I mean, you see, I know that it's a little bit of a challenge in finding a place or a studio for us to begin with. But yes, I was busy too. But you see, the importance of an environment, it what makes the person to speak better. So we are thankful for this environment, which has been something very new for all of us. But that's why we are here for. And we are good to go, yeah.
You went for the static venue, right? To Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
How was the venue? Tehran Expo Center?
Yeah, I visited Saudi Arabia, and it was it's quite a bit in a different environment that I would say. But I think it was a kind of vacation
How is it
period.
compared to? I've never been. So how is it compared to Dubai in terms of the structure and how it looks?
Well, it looks just the older Dubai, older side of the Dubai, but talking about 20 years before Dubai, how it looks like. But you see, I think the Saudi Arabia, Riyadh is something that is picking up now. But the place I visited was from the eastern province,
Tehran.
the Tehran side of it. And yeah, the kind of things that the new development they're coming up, the new vision that they have, it's quite phenomenal. And what they're trying to do at this stage is to have the tourists across the world to be a part of the Saudi Arabia. So it's quite a bit an expedition for me. It was the second time for me to be a part of it. Yes, I went to.
Is it more like an industrial, like a sector?
Yeah, it's quite a bit of an industrial and the residential bit that is quite, kind of a mixed up. But at the same time, I would say that you would feel sand everywhere, so that you can really call it. But in Dubai, you would not feel it the side. So that's how. But it's quite a bit an expedition for me for a couple of weeks. But now I'm back in Dubai, and we are here doing our second episode.
Yeah, since we took the break, I was like, I need to go back to the drawing board and make some things correct. We need to get the lighting sorted. We need to get the studio sorted. We need to make our topics bit more broad. And yeah, I thought the second episode, since we took a long time, let's do it just us. And maybe from the next one onwards, we would have a guest.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of people lined up. I mean, for us to have, but just that we are still trying to be at the stage where to understand things better in our hands, so that we could stabilize in what we do is the right thing. But again, as I coming back to the environment, I think compared to the last episode we had, I think this one is quite a have a bit of a more fresh side of it.
Yeah, I
So
did a lot of research in terms of listening to Dubai-based podcasts and seeing if it is like how they're doing it. We listened to Joe Rogan Experience, we listened to Flagrant. So I wanted to see how Dubai does podcasting, and I was doing a lot of research and came across some funny ones, which I've which I've shared with you. Do you remember watching few of them?
yeah, I did. But you see now, I think everybody wants to do something and everybody wants to voice as something. But again, people trying to put things in a different formats and different kind of settings, and they try to present themselves. Some are really doing it very well. Some are presentable. Some are very good in terms of the technology that they're using. But some are just trying for the sake of it, that they have a studio, but it is not really making a lot of sense,
Yeah,
though.
but
But it does help the people that who want to do it in their own way. But that's what I saw.
yeah, but if you see, nobody wants to listen to like entrepreneurial talks or like business talks, but they want there is like result. If you say some dumb shit, people want to listen to it.
Yeah, because the whole idea of the entertainment world, anything that you see, of course, you see for two reasons. One is for in order for you to be entertained, and second thing is for the knowledge or the information that you wanted to perceive. But that's what the media is there for today. I mean, either they want to entertain you or they want to fill you with information, and that's why around the world, the whole. I mean, if you look at the countries and especially the third world countries, they are carried. They're solely carried by media itself. But it's all about the smoke and mirrors. That's what's happening in the world today.
I mean, it's a trend that the media is changing into social media. Nobody wants to listen to news anymore. I don't listen to news anymore. I listen to podcasts. If I want to know something, I listen to YouTube. I don't watch national television anymore because the novelty of national television has run out. Like, nobody trusts them anymore.
But if you see the generation that the media is actually covering, I mean, if you look at the main news streams today in every part of the world, I mean, they break down themselves into the age criteria. So if you look at it, they do have the wing of the podcast. They do have the wing of the mainstream media. They have the wing of the print media, the magazine. So they have broken down based on the gender category, and they try to promote themselves in various forms. But again, still, whether the purpose is being served or whether the mission has been achieved, whether the information has been reached people, is that what the world sees today. So it is, I mean, end of the day, because of the subscribers they have around the world, the mainstream media still wins. I mean, podcast, yes, because I see a lot of young people doing a lot of things today. But end of the day, mainstream is still a mainstream. If you see, yeah, we can not look into, like you said, I agree to that. People are not looking into the mainstream media. But the youngsters are looking at for more funky kind of approach. But the reality is as simple
I
if you
mean,
look at it.
it is all about news. When it comes to news, it is all a scripted show. News are basically scripted show. You read a line, and when it comes to podcast, it is opinionated, and people like to listen to opinions.
Yeah, opinion. Now let's talk about the opinion versus the script. Now you talk about the script which people have narrated. Now, okay, probably if you look at the kind of discussion that you're going to have, it's just basically of opinions. But if you look at the script side of it, it's more of it's a planned and structured in terms of their mission, what they need to be, what information that need to be delivered for people, so that they could have a certain agenda of delivering certain things. Because you see, news is an art, media is an art again, because they need to build the mindset of people over time, so that they could bring in the agenda what exactly they want them to be. That's why many countries, in terms, if we talk about the politics of the government. They own the main news media and channel. Why is that they own it? Why is that you don't have a private media today?
True.
Have you thought about it? Because most of the mainstream medias are the government. Because the kind of information they send out is to have the whole nation under their wings in terms of their mission and their purpose. And people, majority, if they win the majority, what they can do with the minority. I mean,
Even especially US media is kind of like a monopoly. Even when it comes to India, everything is connected with the political party, or it is connected with a global corporation. Even when it comes to US, we got what are the companies called? BlackRock and Vanguard. They are the major shareholders for all of the what do you call it? The media companies like CNN, Fox. So when there is a monopoly in any place, it is not good.
yeah, if you look at it, if you want to put it in the layman terms, the art of manufacturing a food product, and the health and the art of manufacturing the medicine for the healthcare are owned by the same company.
Yeah, from pharmaceutical transport to food to media, everything is controlled by two companies.
No, see, it's not about. I mean, yeah, US, of course, they have pretty industrial giant business moguls. But if you see around the world, it's the same. I mean, you talk about the one who sells the food and the one who sells the medicine are quite the same. So now you're looking at the one who sells medicine and the one who sells the food. Now you consume food, then you fall sick, then you have to fall sick, then you need to consume the medicine. So the idea of it, either they sell both, they need to be succeeding. End of the day, they are the winners. But it's all about the middle. The whole target of the world is focusing on the middle class and the poor. Because if the moment they keep these two, because the majority is middle class, majority is the poor. If they manage to control both of them, with the lack of information they are managing the world with, that's how they could run the systems, and that's how they could be richer and richer and richer. This is the whole thing. But again, what can you do about it? The question is, okay, if I ask you, okay, how could we stop it? We can't. But unless you become a certain, because you're talking about a company which is holding about a $20 trillion. You can talk about a company which has $10 trillion. Now, how do you think that you wanted to compete with a company who's manufacturing food and medicine together and controlling the whole world system and the finances system? And how do you think that you would be able to make a difference to it? So the thing about the US, or you talk about the world, the richest people. Now, you talk about the way they're managing things. It's not made yesterday, today. Because you see, the forefathers have written this art of how to manage the resources of the world. And that's exactly what they're doing today. That's why any trend that begins in the United States of America are even controlled by the lowest parts of the world, which is from the third world. So it's not about the supremacy aspect. It's about the underlying factor that controls the whole system from America to the third world. So that's what we call it in terms of the way they've written their things and the way they're controlling their things and have developed understanding what's going to come in the future. They've structured it very well.
I mean, since we are living in Asia, and we don't really have to care about American politics, but the problem is whatever happens in America eventually happens to the rest of the world. It spreads to Europe, then it goes to the Asian countries and Africa and so on.
And why do you think so? And why do you think that happens? It's very simple. Because the whole world is mandated or responsible or trading on dollars. So now, because your currency is dollars, you have no other choice but listen to the trends and the falls and the rises of the dollar. But if the dollar makes the decision, you are fallen to be. I mean, you have to follow the decision what the dollar says, which means America does not ask people to follow them, but they just put the benchmark because the world is trading in dollars. But once the dollars fluctuates,
and even in terms of culture aspect, financial aspect, and business aspect aside, even when it comes to culture and all of this LGBT and all of this stuff, it's just spreads. It happens in America. After a year, it happens in UK and spreads to the entire Europe. And now it has been pushed in India. It has been pushed in the rest of the countries.
Okay. Now, okay, they understood the whole political system. Now we talk about the gender variation. You talk about the women and you talk about the men. This is the only thing that we are born with, the first thing that...
No, I mean, people might disagree.
People might disagree. Of course, the world people definitely might disagree.
As far as I know, I've read there are 72 in terms of gender.
Yeah, see, the first thing when a baby is born, their system, because people of the generation who are born of 80s and 90s, and you talk about the 2000, and you talk about the younger generation and the millennials, you talk about whatsoever. The first thing that the people see when a baby is born is only one thing. They don't see the face, they see the product.
Okay.
Whether you're a boy
or not.
or you're a
Women.
So
the argument that comes for that is what they're saying is sex and gender are different.
Okay, that's a reason myth. Of course, I wouldn't say it's a myth, but it's now recently been pushed. I'll tell you why it's getting pushed. It's not because they want to make a difference. It's not because that they wanted to make something very unique. Because I tell you, because when your position in the politics getting diluted, because you are based on the number of voting system. The vote is either by the people, so it's not by animals, it's by people. So the count begins how many children, men and women, and the grandfather and the grandmother. So this is the only census they used to take in the past. And now, because they understood there's no more existence of the older generation existing in the world, they understood the only form is more male capacity than of women existing in the world. Now, men are, again, getting more lazier, and nobody is intending to vote anymore, the system. So the best thing is to impose on people on secularism by introducing something to the world, which is so-called LG, whatever they wanted to call it as.
There is a lot.
There's a lot to discuss.
There is symbols nowadays, like there is plus.
Yeah, because they're trying to say that, okay, you could have an opinion and call yourself a certain gender and call yourself as in a different sex. Now...
No, it's the other way around.
Yeah, so you can call yourself a sex and have a different gender of your own kind. Now, end of the day, my only question is, okay, so you're getting born in a beautiful hospital, and yes, the question is, now, the doctor decides to talk to mom and dad, okay, what gender should I give to my
kid? I mean, it doesn't work that way. It is just self-actualized.
No, they imposed on, even because if you see some of the policies now is imposed in the world that they should check with the parents too.
Yeah. When you bring a child to the hospital for checkup, you need to ask if it's a he or a she or a them or a it.
Okay, now, my question is very simple to the world. If, let's say, this generation is past and we are 100 years ahead, if an archaeologist discovers your body...
So they're going to be male or female.
Yeah. So we are clear with this.
There is no asexual, bisexual.
There's no plus 72 minus G42 or A minus B, the whole square. Yeah. When archaeologists try to do the research, the first product they look, not to your skull, they went to get down.
What do you call it? The bone.
Yeah, so they try to understand whether you're a male or
a female.
Yeah, so there is nothing. Okay, now, so we solved the problem of what they write the history is all about. Our histories were written, either it's A or it is B. Yeah. It is not written on anything that what we are hearing today. Now the bigger positions in the world is getting diluted because people are open the eyes. The best way to the world to play is impose the systems on people.
So the all of these people who are believing in this stuff and who identify as an it or a them, or I don't think so there is something called as an it, but them, or there is a lot. So what do you think? What is wrong with them?
Okay, now, what privilege, I understand your question this way, what benefit that is give to us or people who can take or claim themselves? Okay, now...
it's more like, do you think they are mentally ill or they have a problem which need to be treated? I mean, you need to think, if 10 years back or 20 years back, if someone told me I'm a she, you're going to put them in a mental hospital.
Yeah, you're right. I get that. But now what happened? Now the question arises is, okay, now you have to go to the restroom and you see two kinds of images. So which one would you enter? So these kind of people claim right to enter both.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, it is hard for women, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is not good for a woman who is still believing themselves they're good enough to be a part of the world. And you have somebody coming from nowhere claiming some orientation on themselves, which is wrong. But how are you going to take care of the existing women? How are they going to be more safer in the world when you start imposing these things? The whole idea of these things is to create a disruption in the human system. And this is just began the surface of it.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah, they
And
banned
in
it.
some parts of the world, they
They
never
banned them.
entertained
They
this.
banned them. They, even if you see the Spider-Man movie or the movie that came out, Buzz Lightyear, they banned the movie because there was a poster of a gay couple or a trans couple. I'm not sure, but they banned the movie because of that, because they don't want their kids learning this all sort of bullshit.
See, again, I tell you, see, now people try to get out in the news media, the flags, the politicians, and all the angles you'd have seen. They have come up with a lot of things to showcase themselves that we are good with it. But the best part for them, because they let them not forget that they're younger generation. So the best part to reach out to the younger generation is through the entertainment world.
They need politicians in country need chaos happening all the time. Even if you look back, it's like Black Lives Matter. COVID happens, nobody care about pronouns anymore. All are home. Nobody cared. No rally, nothing. No one cared anymore because they're afraid of dying. So Black Lives Matter, gay equality, women rights, and now LGBT. I mean, we don't have an issue with LGB. Yeah, we have only a problem with the T. The T is what kind of confusing and kind of breaking up the whole thing.
You see the whole thing. What do you mean by? Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you mean by television?
What do you mean by television? It's a source of knowing information or consuming media.
It simply means somebody has a vision and they want to tell it to the world. That's why it's called as telling a vision, which is called television. Now, people who are sitting.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so they have a vision to impose this on the people. The best way to do is, for example, for me, I don't watch TV. Not because I don't like watching. Not because that is something bad happening. Yes, of course, sometimes the movies and trailers. Yeah, sometimes it's bits and pieces I watch, not that I'm straying away from. But everything, that underlying factor is to get attention of people so that the whole stream of the generation gets into a certain belief system and they never crawl the ladder upwards. For example, there's a movie that you watch and you believe in yourself that it's, you're not entertained by that movie. There are a lot of things that from that movie enters into you, a kind of a lifestyle, a certain dress code, a certain language. Something enters from that movie or that thing into you.
There is some kind of influence.
Influence that plays. But that plays is very strong thing on a younger generation. Now, how would parents control the generation which is growing up? And how would you manage them? So this is what the mainstream medias and the world today is into.
Have you seen news articles where, news videos where they have seen students in school in the US, they're teaching, it's like a part of their subject to teach genders, and trans people are coming and showcasing, what do you call it? They dance and stuff, and it is just kind of weird. Like, and parents are kind of fed up with like normal people.
How would I raise it? Okay, now, let's say we have a dog at the house, right? Can I convince the dog to become whatever it feels to become?
No, you can't, but people are doing it now, right?
No, because it does not have the sixth sense. The problem with men is, if I keep convincing you that you look like this, you look like that, your facial expression looks like this, I like your hair being that way, I like your hair being this way, you're cute this way. If I keep using that jargon, if I impose 10 people to continually who is surrounding you to use that one, rest assured in 3 months from now, you will start behaving a certain way. The whole idea of this, because you see, the male personality is too difficult to destroy in the world. Manhood is too difficult. The best part for them to convince the generation is to impose something which is there in the women into you. And the moment you transform yourself, it's easy to control you because you're already controlled by a myth, which is called the gender equality. You're talking about the sex. So these variations begin. The once you're confused, it's easy. So you fall into any prey that you want. Either you could conceive.
Yeah, even if you see the what is the name of the actress? Charlize Theron. She adopted 3 black kids, black boys, and she thinks they're like 7 years old, 6 years old. They're wearing skirts, and she thinks they are what do you call it? They identify as a woman. That's a new term. You can identify as a woman. You can identify as anything in the world nowadays.
Okay, why don't you then get married? Then all of a sudden tell your bride that I'm a bride.
You know, that's what athletes are doing now. You know, the what do you call it? The weightlifters. What are they called? The weightlifters, right? The Olympic weightlifters. So you got a limit for men's how many pounds you can lift, and there is one for how many kg you can do for women. So the women, comparatively, the women's a bit more low. So now what men are doing, identifying as women, breaking the record, going home with a medal. Because that is okay nowadays in the US.
Okay, now, so why don't you entertain these people in the parliament?
I think so. They're doing. I mean, there is even when it comes to movies, when it comes to any kind of business. Now there is a quota that needs to be filled.
And why do you think they will approve this to be the part of the parliament in the world?
I don't know.
We're not talking about a specific country. Any parliament, if they give a quota to this, what happens?
What happens? Chaos happens.
Yeah, so that's what they want.
Yeah, but
because you see,
they are trying to win the election as well next term, right?
No, see, the more people are confused, the better the possibility for the powers to stay the same.
Yeah.
There is no monopoly. See, there's more monopoly happens. But you see, in the countries or the big countries in the world, when it comes to politics, you can't. There are many parties in the world, and many institutions, and many constitutions, many good writers, and all of them are foundationally very, very strong in terms of what they have done in the past. But imagine the kind of political parties they have in the world. Not 2, 3, like what you're talking about. You just take about India. You're talking about like thousands of political parties.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, so you're talking about the 7th largest economy, and are still climbing higher. So, I mean, you're talking about politics of extremism in countries like that. But now, if we imagine people are confused.
Yeah, you don't know what to do anymore. You don't know who to choose
No,
anymore.
you just remain yourself as a monopoly because people are confused. And in what values that you would run your country? Because people are confused.
Yeah, I mean, as long as something bad is happening, people will profit from it.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, isn't it? The whole idea, because you're talking about, okay, now are we talking about the war in Russia and Ukraine anymore? Do we?
No, we don't, because we switched topic and it just came and went.
It's just like a COVID, it passed now. Then people are talking about the new wave and people are talking about the future. People are So every year and every month, somebody cooks something for you to smell.
Yeah.
And now the kind of topics, even we talking or the influences that we have, we are quite irritated about these topics. And we are irritated about what the world is going. We're thankful for the generation of our fathers and mothers and how they beautifully lived and raised the children and all of that.
Yeah, see, nobody is talking about how Elon Musk is improving the world or how, Neuralink is improving the world. They want to talk about why this athlete kneel down on their national anthem. Have you seen that? It's ridiculous. When you start to disrespect a country by taking down their flag and putting LGBT. You see the rainbow flags? You've got the rainbow flags, right? That in White House they removed you've got 3 flags. They removed the whole middle flag, the US flag, and put an LGBT flag for July for the the Pride Month. Same thing happened in UK. For July, they removed the whole flags and started putting the rainbow flags. And rainbow flags are everywhere. If you see products nowadays, Hershey, there is, the watch Swatch, all of them they have to do it. They have to collaborate with the LGBTQ community and make a product or do something with it. They are pushing their agenda too much.
You see, now you're talking about the product. You're talking about, see, let's leave the kind of countries that we're talking about with the US, and let's keep the countries aside. Now, the whole agenda of it, let's look at the focus on the agenda. Now, the reason why we're talking about is not because somebody called you over the phone from America and told you this is happening, that we need to take a serious action. Because this is on the mainstream media.
No, I mean, we talk about it as from a Central Asian community. We talk about it because it is affecting our country. It is spreading to our country. Have you seen rallies in India? It started light. It started light in US. Everyone joined in. Okay, they were supporting the equality aspects of it, and everyone joined in. Men joined in, women joined in. Then they wanted to push. Now they want to push the agenda towards their kid. That's where people drew the line. I said, no, you're not touching our kids. You're not spreading that message to our kid. Until then, people were fine. And the same thing is happening in India. If you see, there are rallies in Delhi and Mumbai happening with gay parade with the same what do you call the rainbow flags. And
Okay, now
that is the only reason why we have to talk about it.
no, I understand why we're talking, but again, why we are talking on how did we got the information? Again, yes, we are bothered because we are concerned. I could say the right word, because our nation is affected, our countries are affected, our brothers and sisters are affected. Now our generation is affected because of this non-cycle thing coming and influencing the world. But again, what's the agenda behind? See, anything that the world does, they don't do it thinking tomorrow. They are advanced looking at a generation which is going to be raising up in next 50 or 100 years. They have this in their mind when they do it. So now this which they begin as a spark, in terms of, they begin with the equality and diversity at some point. They began this with.
Yeah, it started as women's rights. Then it spread to Black Lives Matter or the racial aspect of it. Then it spread to gender. Now it is gender.
Yeah, so it has taken the form. But when the women's rights was imposed, they already had this in plan. Because they know exactly when to strike what.
I mean, nobody is, even if you see women's right, they've got a lot of advantages because of that. But now everything is being taken back because of the same LGBT thing. Now women can go use their own washroom. Women can't do their own sport because men are in.
If you look at it, you see, what I hate about, especially when it comes to the systems of the world, they would empower you in a certain way, where you will go to a certain height in doing things with a certain capacity. And when you're doing that capacity in a certain height, they will impose something which is self-destructing. Your own capacity to fly with your own people, and your own people will be the problem for it. And the government and the people around the world, and you would run to the government for help to see, and they would impose another thing. So the whole idea is, I see the generation of puppets and cartoons being raised by this new sense of human race, where people are trying to sow that seed strongly from a younger generation to the oldest one today.
Quick question. So now people are identifying us, even if in Instagram, you can see you need to put pronouns in. And what if you get a CV which has a pronoun in? Are you accepting that candidate?
No, I would
Because
not.
you need to call them, when you hire them, you need to call them they, them. You can't call them he or she. You need to call them they, them. Are you going to accept that candidate? He is qualified or they are qualified?
No, definitely no. I'm not going to be identifying people which is trying to identify themselves as a certain creation, and they're born with a certain thing and identifying themselves with a certain thing, because there is no way tomorrow. Okay, now what if they're imposing to say that animals can become humans? And
There is. You can call yourself as a fur or something, and you can be a cat. You can identify as a cat. You can.
Yeah, so now
All you have to do is this.
yeah, so people have free of right to do all of that, because you see, there are people's come up with the recent fantasies. You're talking about the fantasies of the world today. I mean, some call it as fetish, some call it as fantasy, some call it all nonsensical things. But if you look into the deeper side of what exactly the opinions of people, of things, their behavior, if constantly you're being clapped for your behavior, which is maybe you're trying to do or scratch yourself like a cat, And if I appreciate that you scratch so beautiful. Now, rest assured, so your generation, you're telling me there's going to be cats.
Yeah, I mean,
No, the whole idea is...
that might happen now.
No, that might happen. But the thing is, but who's the winner? The agenda is what? Getting people
divided.
Confused, destroying manhood. This is the whole agenda of the whole system at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like someone said, the best way to destroy a country is from the inside. And you put agenda inside, you divide them. Now you have a divided community that needs fixing. Then politician is required. Business is required. All resources are required because the thing is divided.
Okay. I mean, since you said this, let me tell you. Everything begins from religion.
True.
If you have a religion, you need politics. And if you have politics, you need business.
Yeah, okay.
And if you don't have these three, you don't have a generation that can live out of it. So the best thing to do is to have all three, come up with new agendas like this, to run this all three fruitfully, so that people of power can manage things and the resources of the poor and the middle class. As simple as that.
As far as we know, we agree that we've got male and female. I've pulled up the whole LGBTQ list. Let me read it out. Do you think we can simplify it into maybe 3? We'll give 3 or 4. There is 15, 16. Let's make it 3 or 4. Let me read and do the... So the whole thing is 2S LGBTQIA+. That's the whole thing. There is a plus.
Yeah.
So 2S is two-spirit. L is for lesbian, G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transgender, Q for cure, Q for questioning, I for intersex, A for asexual. So let me read the definition, please. Lesbian, a woman who experiences romantic or sexual attraction to only or mostly other women. So, confused, kind of. Gay, we know gay. Let's move on. Bisexual. Bisexual is romantically and emotionally sexually attraction towards more than one gender. So they're attracted towards both the gender. That is bisexual. Now let's do pansexual. Pansexual is sexual, romantic and emotional attraction towards people of any sex or gender. So we know there is 2 gender. And what is the difference between bisexual and pansexual then? So pan is attracted towards 2 gender. Bisexual is also attracted towards 2 gender. Because as we know, we got male and female. That is 2. There is any. Any means 2.
You're asking my opinion on this?
Yeah. How can we simplify? No, I'm saying how can we simplify it? So there is male, female. Let's give them one more out of...
No, I think...
It's a charitable cause.
Okay, let them... Can they do this in the passports if they want?
I think so.
I have not seen a passport yet.
No,
but
maybe they can. They cannot do it in their birth certificate.
Yeah.
I think they can do it somewhere.
Yeah. So now you see, because it's again an identical thing.
Yeah, because now you can go and how you doing, man? You can do that because maybe they get offended. I'm not a man. I'm a ma'am.
You see, you have to end of the day justify creation. For me, if you ask me, I don't know about you, but the entire thing is demonic.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole thing is demonic.
I mean, you are a practicing Christian. We are living in the Islamic country. I'm an atheist, born a Hindu. We all agree that's demonic.
Okay, but there's some kind of a sensual thing in you. Some senses tells you that this is such a rubbish and an evil and a demonic imposed thing on people.
Yeah, I mean, if you see, there is bisexual, which means female can be bisexual, man can be bisexual. So, if a female is bisexual, which means she's a female. And if a male is a bisexual, which means he's gay. We can simplify it in that way.
Yeah, I mean, this all existed, but if you see why there's kind of... See, it was existing, but it was such an...
we never cared about these things until it was forced upon us. Like,
yeah, now it is...
We don't care about you being gay. We don't care about you being lesbian. You don't care if you're a trans. But don't force me to say something that doesn't make sense. That is a problem.
Yeah, see, they're not forcing anybody. Trust me, they're not forcing. What they're trying to do is, they're trying to impose... Because what happens for a person who's depressed? Imagine you have such kind of depression and you have no money, nothing as such. And somebody tells you, if you kind of think about your identity and behave a certain way, and I can fund you and I can give you and I can take care of you and be a comfort with the point of this, the person's going to accept an identity. It's a new identity given to them. So the whole idea is, it's not for you or for me who have a sound mind. At least me, I have a sound mind.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know about you though, so I'm just saying though. But we're talking about
Got
things.
the light fall.
Yeah, we're talking about things which is relevant for today's generation.
Pause. Let's pause. Have you tried this? The light.
No, not yet. You guys able to hear well? Yeah? No, I'm good, thank you. You're able to hear well and do things. Oh, thank you.
Try this. So much hype for this shit now. Yeah. Did you watch the? So what I did, right, Sam? How's it?
Good.
You've drank Gatorade before,
What's that?
right? That is strawberry watermelon.
All right, no.
Yeah, last week I watched a movie. So this is what I have. So when I'm watching a movie, I don't know. I go to IMDb, read the what do you call it? The summary of the movie, and if I like the summary and if I like the rating, I go watch the movie in Netflix or anything. So the movie's name is Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is a summary I read. When the feud between the son of American president and Britain's prince threatens to drive a wedge in US and British relations, the two are forced into a staged truce. This is what I've read. It's between two sons of like the president's son, US president's sons, and UK's prince. I went into the movie thinking it was going to be a fun buddy movie. Suddenly, out of nowhere, halfway through the movie, they started making out.
Damn.
Yeah, no warning at all. No warning at all. They started making out, and
Do you know something? There's something called, okay, when you switch channels, we say it's a channel
yeah,
in the television, and you also say, some say, okay, this is the first program or the second program. People say it's a program, one program. Every word is derived. If you look at the word channel, it's to channelize you. If you look at the program, it's to program you. So the whole idea is, you see, men are lost today. Let me put it this way. Why men are lost today? Because either they work too hard in their life, because they need to keep up with the family, and especially since we are part of the Middle East, we understand the intensity of
Culture.
men, the culture, the men, the people that work hard. When I say work hard, you can see from the construction to the heights of business, because it's a fight in this part of the world, because people
from
need
the
to
blue collar
yeah,
to the elites. They're all working hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fight, because you talk about positions, director, you're talking about vice president. It's a fight for men out there to do whatever it takes to not only to survive. One is to protect your company where you're serving from. Then you need to protect your family, because you have protecting your company too. Now, if you're looking at all of that, now let's talk about what you just said now, why these things are involved in television. You said that it comes something new. I'm coming to an answer why this is influencing people now. Now you're lost, because now you're not really concerned about being romantic. Now you're not concerned, because you're concerned on a mission, because man is mission oriented end of the day. Because if some objective that we have that we need to run, we run with it. But we see anything that is subordinate, anything that something that comes in between in terms of fantasy, which we call as, okay, I mean, women or things like that. I mean, we just, again, okay, that's maybe for a moment. We enjoy pleasure. But again, we run the race, because there's a huge mission. Because men are recognized by the accomplishments usually. Because men are more numerical. Because the more accomplishments that I have, I feel that I'm more accomplished. That's what the human mind's into. Now, in that kind of race, how would I dilute and stop men to focus on something else? Because if you see, have you noticed this? Anytime you watch something ugly or something ugly, I'm talking about like anything that is pleasureful or anything which is little.
Porn.
I mean, you talk about A-rated. Okay. I'm a diplomatic person, so I approach everything diplomatic. So maybe if you had to speak it out, it's fine. Okay, whatever it is. But it leads to a person to a certain thinking, because it's already programmed you to do a certain act. Because the first thing is, you need to be conceived yourself before you give birth. So everything that you see, you get conceived. But the moment you give birth, then you give birth to a sin. End of the day.
Okay.
So the ideology of every movie that you see today They're transforming something into your mind so that your environment is affected wherever you are. So imagine people spending millions of dollars on launching something and sandwiching and aerated in between the movie is just that to the reach of the ends of the world. Now, for example, a good person, after seeing certain things, all of a sudden feels that he needs something more and started commits adultery.
Okay, that went extreme.
Yeah, no, some part of the. No, I'm just
the
saying
only
that.
problem with this, I don't mind if they have a gay movie. Just give us a warning that it is a gay movie, so I can choose not. We always have a choice, right? So I can choose not to watch it.
Yeah, see, now let's not talk about choices because when you talk about emphasizing choices, they have their choice because there's another community will say that even I have choices. So yeah, see, the thing is the whole thing that is put out now is choices. Everything is functioning based on the choice. But we do not have a generation like that. But the world is concerned. The previous generation is concerned because what's going to happen with my kids in the future? Because when this is more emphasizing, there's a lot of pressure on people to accept certain things, even if they're not accepting. You see, if you look at some of the branding today, like you were mentioning Swatch and all of that, it somehow influences people on a certain color code that makes another person who is following that things to think that, okay, probably he the kind of person. For example, I went, I think just about a couple of days back, I looked at my barber. He had a peacock kind of green style on the top like that. And I called him, I said, just a green wing on the top like this, just two. And I said, what's this? He said, style. I said, it's a very good signal for people to think that you are whatever you are. And he said, no. And there's another person who's colored it as gray too, just like a peacock, another two on the top. So the whole community.
You mean like highlighted?
They just highlighted, like what do you call it, a streak?
Two streaks.
Two streaks, and they've straightened it in a certain way, and they have blowed their hair, so it's just like two on the top like this.
Yeah, it was straightened.
And now the entire 3-4 barbers I looked at the shop, at the salon, they looks the same. I said, guys, I want to address this issue. Who began this one here? He said, no, this began from this guy. We liked it. I said, so.
See, the thing is, you remember me, I used to like hair coloring.
Yeah.
Coloring hair. Now I can do that because I used to like it. Now I can do that because people might think you're supporting this kind of. If you see all the green color, blue color haired people are the one who's fighting for these things.
Okay, let me put it this way. Any color code that you wear, any color code, you talk about shoe and anything that you wear, do you know there is a certain sense of people and there is a kind of people who would attract it to you just because of what you wear? Do you have an idea on that?
Yeah, okay, you have to repeat that.
No, what I'm saying is, any color code that you wear, or anything that you feel that you're handsome, or anything that you feel that you're pretty, do you know that it does not affect other people to see that you're pretty or handsome? What it influences another person, because there are only certain kind of people attracted to you. Have you noticed it? It's not because you thought you're handsome. It's because of the certain colors on you looked better only for certain people. Have you noticed it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because for example,
view,
if you see men who fancies in terms of women, they say, okay, I like petite, I like this, I like that, and I like this.
Yeah, there is.
It's not about the shape factor I'm looking at. I'm talking about, because you see, everything begins with what you see. Yeah. But if the world can transform you to what you see, the world can easily convince you what you have to be.
That you are something else.
That you're something else.
Yeah.
That's why it is important for you to realize what to see and what not to see. Because it is very evident your eyes is the window of your body functions with. That's why what you see is what you behave. That's why I tend to stay away from these things. Because not that to show that I am someone.
In Dubai, especially in Dubai and Middle East, this is the best place to be in terms of avoiding all of that shit. Because they've got movies banned. They've got anything related to, something called as an OnlyFans? Have you heard of it? It's a subscriber. It's Instagram Live.
Yeah, no, it's
something
true.
Similar to that. It is like a video platform. It's like a TikTok kind of a platform, but for porn. So now women are making in US and UK and all of these places, making millions of dollars doing that. And people, I mean, men are subscribing. I mean, we can't. And Dubai has banned that. Dubai has banned all the movies that is even slightly pushing these kind of unnecessary agendas. And a lot of countries are doing. Even the movie Barbie was censored. It came out late. It was censored in Dubai. It's a huge movie, but it was censored and it was cut down because we don't. It was because it was promoting lesbian or gay. Even movies like Buzz Lightyear. You know the old Toy Story movie?
Yeah, I've seen Toy Story when I was young. Yeah.
So there is a new sequel for it, and they made the Buzz Lightyear. You know the Buzz Lightyear, the one with the rocket. They made him gay. They made the cartoon gay.
See, that's the only idea because people would understand as well. Because otherwise, what's the point? Because it's not about, okay, they're trying to impose, because they need to build a generation which fully convinced and fully believes. But now they realize that they're half of the world, because the easiest way for them to impose, you see Africa. What kind of resistance you see Africa would show themselves? Because though their people are solely dependent on international funds and all of that things. But when it comes to morale, you can't beat the third world.
Yeah.
Because people are
Africa and
India. You talk about
Middle East.
Yeah, when it comes to morale and when it comes to religion, when it comes to what they follow, they are sound in what they are following, because they do not want, because they understand the imposition, they understand the influences, what it's going to play at the future of the children. But if you look at because if you see the whole generation and if you see the mission and the vision of Dubai, because they want to make a better future for the children's children. If you look at any book of His Excellency, he speaks about the future of the children, the future of his generation.
Yeah.
And that's the whole sole mission of the United Arab Emirates, what they're doing. But now you're trying to bring
They fight so hard to keep the culture alive so that even the next generation follows the same
But
pattern.
trust me, it's not easy for them. But at the same time, they draw a line where they have to. Because one thing about
I mean, legally here, even if it talks freely, UAE, it is banned to be a gay or have a gay relationship or a lesbian relationship. But nobody really cares in terms of it is banned. It is legally banned, but nobody really cares. We know a lot of gay people. We know a lot of lesbian people. As long as it is not forced upon us or it is done publicly or to spread a message, nobody really cares. I mean, that has to be there. That limit has to be there. If you want to do something, do it, but don't push someone else to accept it.
Then when I'm coming back to the concept of accepting, the world is not making you or emphasizing or forcing, neither pressurizing you to accept. But what they're trying to do, they are actually
pressurizing you to.
They are influencing you in the highest possible way.
Not even influencing. When you talk about US, you could get cancelled. That's a new term. You could get cancelled for calling someone a different pronoun. You could lose your job.
It's okay. There's a difference between the acceptance of the community imposed by the government bodies. There's a difference between the acceptance you're talking about here.
Yeah.
There's a difference between you're being forced. They're not forcing you. What they want is just the way you accept the people, like your people of disabled. Like you see the people of disabled people, you have a special car parking for them and all of that. We understand it's a disabled thing.
So you're telling me pronouns are like disability?
No, it's not.
It's a kind of a disability.
It is a disability for mind for the world. Yeah. It is for the generation. But what the people, it's a serious form of disability. Now what they're trying to tell you is accept us, give us respect, and honor us.
That's what they were saying. That's not what they're saying now. They are forcing you to change. They are forcing you. Like if you see a news report, or if you take CNN, Piers Morgan, if you see interviews with the gay people, they demand they want to call or they are out. They are forcing you to use. And when people
they're forcing you. When they say, okay, now tell me this. When I say forcing, like let's say now you're in America, what forcing thing what kind of forcing you're talking about?
Let's say I'm a Dedam. I can ask you to call me Dedam.
Okay.
So you need to call me Dedam or we have an issue. If you call me a he, we have an issue. And that is if after the warning and if you still do it, you have a high likely chance to get cancelled in terms of losing your job.
Okay, let me put it this way. You have a choice. You have picked your choice wisely. It's good for you. But if there is any business engagement, what they're asking us is to accept your existence as a certain category of the gender that you chose for me to believe in you and call you that name.
Yep.
If there is a relationship. Now, if there is not, they're not calling you to say that you also become this.
No, they are
Now,
not
that's
forcing
not
you to become this.
They're forcing you for
to
the
accept it,
acceptance, yeah. But some with the generic morale would not do it. But at the same time, the identical. But you see now people are pushing in terms of the businesses that you need to allow them to work with you, allow them to do, because this was a generation that never existed. From where did it give birth? Because when choices were given to people, now let's say that probably your father is expecting you to score distinction in your higher school, then you're too scared that because you're not able to study well, and he's forcing on you that you need to study well in order for a better future. Now you're being so pressurized by your father in order to study well, basically. Because you couldn't do it, you come home and say that I am no longer men, I am they or them. Because of what? You see now.
You give the choice, they take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no. Listen. The reason why they do it. The reason why they do it. When somebody is pressurized because there is somebody. I'll tell you why I'm saying these people are people of disability in their mind, or they're disabled.
Yeah, it needs to be treated. Yeah.
Yes, need to be treated. But I tell you why. Because these are the people who are not accepted for their achievement of whatever they're trying to do. For example, if a child does not achieve what it wants to achieve, the best thing for it to behave neutral so that it can be accepted here.
Yeah, change your identity and
be accepted here. That's what is happening because the world have realized they have commercially made education too hard for you. They commercially made for you to get jobs so hard for you. So there's a generation which is a failure. So the best solution for the failed generation is to impose a logic of choice. So the failed generation gets into it. That's why I call them the people of disability. Now, in order for them to come out, the only way for them to come out is the world need to raise the voice and stand against.
I mean, that's what people are doing now, trying to do, but with no effect at all. Like in terms of, it is good that it is not spreading here, and that is the best part about Middle East or Africa. They don't even want a slight hint hitting here. But when it comes to India, it is spreading because we don't have control over.
Okay, see, anywhere there's more democracy. I mean, people in the world, I would not blame democracy. At the same time, in the name of democracy, people have played the world system. People have played countries in the name of democracy. And this is what hurts the generation today. But, I mean, you see, what is needed now, it's not about the voice or the influence. What is needed here is, because you talk about the Middle East or the UAE, you see the kind of resistance they have.
Yep.
The government needs to take stand on this to save a generation for the better. If a government accepts the universal law, it affects the people, which the mid and the poor and the low, everybody is affected because of that. That's why it is important when it comes to the policies, when it comes to the stability, when it comes to the future and economical raise. We talk about raising money. We talk about every country today in the world. They're talking about how to build their economy. So there is a race for every economy to supersede another economy to be number one in the world, to attractive foreign direct investments and FDI. That's the mission of the world, because like a company has the objectives, the nations have the objectives as well. But on what basis they're building these objectives? Because they know. Do you know that in order for somebody to become rich, somebody need to be poor? You know that?
Yep. There needs to be a scale. There
need to be a balance of it. So that is the reason. If you define just an economy, what's an economy? It's not about the system. It's not about something that we could scale. It's just being the difference between the balance between the rich and the poor.
I think we need to switch topics because we are going around and around.
Yeah, let's. I think the
Okay. Yep.
it's rolling. Yeah, so we
This
continue.
weekend, we are supposed to, you need to find time. Let's go watch Oppenheimer.
Yeah, we'll
You
try
know
to
about the
figure.
movie, right?
Yeah, I've heard. I read a little bit as I told you, but since there's something to discover, we would definitely find a way
Yeah,
to.
there is a competition happening between Oppenheimer and Barbie, and we need to support Oppenheimer. I mean, the
But
question
again,
is, do you want to watch a movie about the most influential invention of all time or Oppenheimer?
what's most important invention of all time? Is it the same? You are
It's
talking
a nuclear bomb. It's
the one who
about
discovered the one
yeah,
who.
it's about him.
Yeah, so I think that's also. I think it's.
That's Oppenheimer.
I think I heard the world have spent enough money again to captivate the whole world again to lead into something else. But anyway, it's good to see. Information is good. I mean, it's always good understanding what's happening in the
And
world.
you as a cinephile, you watch movies, and he's one of the best directors. It is done by Christopher Nolan, and all of his movies are the best movies to watch. Inception, Interstellar, Tenet, everything is good. And even the actor, you've seen Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders, right? You've seen Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic and Iron Man. So there are good actors and amazing director. And the best part about it is there is no visual effects. It's a movie about bomb, and there is no visual effects. All are practical effects, which means they rented out a whole, what do you call it, a desert, and blow shit up. There is no
Yeah,
visual
it'll be
effects.
interesting because you see invention. I mean, not using any special effects and developing a business like that. It's definitely. I
Not
mean, not
not
sorry, not
shot on
business.
a. It's not shot on a digital camera. It's shot on a film camera. Like there is film cameras, and
Anyway, it's worth it. You see, I mean, I've not looked into the trailer, but again, this week I'm planning to.
we
Not
should
to
go.
see the movie, but to see the trailer. But if it's more convincing, then I think anything that I do, I mean, it's just about my personal opinion.
You need to no, there is no you need to find 2 hours. We are going to watch the movie. I was waiting for you to come back to Dubai to watch it. I've been I should have gone the first day of release. I was waiting so that we have something to talk about the
Yeah, I
next
know. You see, I mean,
podcast.
from a personal point of view, I feel a great synergy in terms of.
You don't do anything other than business, huh? You don't do anything, and
See, all of a sudden, I'll tell you something. I mean, I told this the last time as well. Probably, I don't know if you heard me well. If you don't, hear me well and listen to me twice.
okay.
Life is all about business. Either you record profits or you record losses. So the life every day, from the time you wake up till the time you go to the sleep, and it continues for months and years. It's all about business. Either today,
Yeah, you
okay,
need to,
okay. Today, what's the profit today? We are sitting together. There is time. See, in evolution of time, we caught this time, and there are people around in the setup trying to help us to do something. So their time, this is your time and the viewer's time. It's all time bound. So either somebody is recording profit by the information that we are talking about,
or you're receiving
or
value.
somebody's recording losses or saying that, yeah, it's no.
There is
There's
some kind of
stupidity.
value.
So life, again, now you said, okay, so
You don't do anything for fun, so you have to. I mean,
No,
you need to sometimes stop your business and
for
maybe
me, I tell you, fun is all.
accept some losses.
Okay, profitability is
You
all
need to
about.
accept some losses.
Yeah, see, profitability is all about fun for me. If I gain or touch a life of somebody, either by doing something or navigating somebody to excel something, that's profiting. I think what we arrived in, some begin from the business. I think you know our business. Some left us, some continue to be with us, some are still helping us out, but we are still running. If you look at it, we are still running.
Yeah.
But not everybody who began with you meant to end with you.
Yeah, stayed with you.
Yeah. So some leave you halfway, some come throughout. But who do you gonna bank on for the stability purpose? That's what the question is. Now you see the episode of this time of the year, maybe whatever the age you're part of, whatever the ages of people who are watching this. We don't know, but at this time of their life, at this episode of your life and my life, we were able to add some value to somebody else.
True.
That's what defines it. That's what defines the show, Ace and Beyond.
Yeah. But you are watching it, but you all of that aside, you are watching the movie.
Okay, we'll find time to.
You're watching the movie.
We'll find time to.
And maybe we will go to the comedy show happening. Andrew Schultz. I really like the guy. We like the podcast. The idea of our podcast and everything we referred with him. Like that was the podcast. Like he has done podcasting in a next level. Like it's entertaining. There is nothing about that podcast that is wrong. And he's an amazing comedian, and he doesn't hold back. So if there is time, maybe it is the end of next month. We should go and Abu Dhabi also.
Yeah, I've seen the person himself. I've just read about him. Yes, I've seen him as well. I mean, it's worth it. I think you see.
Networking is required, was like in the sense of like even.
Yeah, networking is important. I mean, I'm not doubting one bit. Everybody stabilizes in networking.
And fun is also required.
Fun is also important. I mean, we're not trying to deny fun, but fun. When I say fun, it need to be a natural fun with this. It's
I cannot believe you're making me sound fun boring.
No. What I'm saying is,
you need to.
You can't define. See, pleasure. Okay, now fun can be defined for people.
You can have fun, but you need to accept loss.
No.
You are making fun scary.
No, not fun scary. But you see, for Middle East, sadly, okay, I was just trying to wonder why so much of act of this part. Okay, when you call fun, okay, for some people, sports can be defined as fun. Some is probably browsing can be fun. So fun is, I mean, defined in a certain way, or happiness is defined in a certain way for people in a different form.
Okay, so what do you do for fun, boss? What do you do for fun, Sam? Other than office, what do you like to do for fun?
Okay, for example, if I think of an idea and I put that in a paper and I check with 5 people and they say this works, and that's fun for me. I'm excited about it. I said, yeah, let's go. This works. And try to work. For example, talking to you about a website. And I mean, my logical view towards that website changes into an analytical view from your side and try to have a theory to its own. Then comes back to my opinion and my whole agenda shifted to something else. And then I see that it's working. That excites me. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm a commercial and it's all about money. No, it's never about it. But what excites for everybody? So for men, I think for sure, all the men out there, they're listening. And the more numerical values that comes into their pockets or into the banks, I mean, of course, they're excited about it. I mean, we are not housewives, isn't it? To sit at home, to think that, so okay, I want to do something for fun. So but sadly, hold on. Sadly, for some, pleasure is fun. So you can't associate with the person who have defined pleasure as fun and the person's other happiness is something else, to combine it to say that, okay, the person is not even close to it. For some, drinking. For some, whatsoever. For some, Thailand and Bangkok. For some, so happiness is defined. So happiness is defined. So
for you, fun is getting money.
Not about money.
You said that.
No, it's not about money. I'm not commercial. I'm saying that. No.
You sugarcoated it. You sugarcoated it in a way that you profit, you accept it.
No, it's not sugarcoated.
For you, fun
nothing that
is getting money.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, if something that I create, because I have a lot of things that I've written and a lot of things that I do on a daily basis. There's something because there are some things that is still not even shown to the world yet. I'm not talking about my Albert Einstein, but
some of the projects
or ideas or applications that I have a lot that are present. Some of them you know as well, but you know that it could work too, you yourself. But are we looking for funding? No. We are just looking and convinced in the art of a belief that this just works.
And even if I see you've got energy events, when are we getting an entertainment event?
Okay, now.
And you've got all of this project. When are we getting a fun project to work on? Okay. Anyway, you're not going to have fun separate. You're going to mix fun with business. So let's
see. Anything today is fun. Okay. You try to do fun. You need to either get paid or you need to pay to get. Is it fun for free?
No. Fun is not for free. Fun and
Yeah.
pleasure is not for
Yeah,
free.
at
But
all.
that's why I'm saying you need to.
So you need revenue.
Yeah.
You need fund to do that fun, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what I
true.
meant. So realistically, if I had to have fun, two things. There is nothing called self-actualized fun. Okay, I am doing this for fun. Yeah, probably I love doing something that I could do it. But I would not call it as a fun, but any fun element, either if you want to have that kind of happy, either you need to pay for it or somebody need to be paying for you for your own fun, right? Otherwise, sitting at home, what fun we're talking about in the Middle East. But sadly, I was wondering why a lot of things are happening around, why people say for some people they play snooker, some people drink, some people do a lot of other activities as such. But these things never happen in the third world, if you look at it.
Yeah, but there is a different kind of fun that is happening.
Yeah, yeah. But the kind of luxurious, we call it as this, the fun element that's going around this environment, we call it as a luxurious fun or luxurious pleasureful
Yeah, there are
fun.
no shisha and stuff in India, for example, but there is farms and cricket happening.
Yeah, so people associate and change their systems and dress the way they are based on the environment. But that's how the city is lit up here.
Okay,
And
okay, Sam, don't have fun. Up to you.
no. I'm not saying that I'm
Up
not
to
going to
you. I
have.
was
I'm
just
just
suggesting.
defining.
I was just
I'm
suggesting.
just defining fun on my own and way of what it looks like for people. But for me, for you, it's completely different, maybe. But I'm not aligning with it. But for me, it is different, and you're not aligning with it.
Yeah.
Some call fun, some call happiness, some call what gives you joy, some calls the various terms for it. But foundationally, I tell you, I can relate. What would make you content? What would make
What
you
would make you
content?
content? Yeah.
What can give you that satisfaction? End of the day, if you continue doing it, if you're in that road of satisfaction, that's the one your personal happiness. That's my personal. That's our viewers' personal happiness.
Yeah, that's why you are a successful entrepreneur and I am struggling.
No, you're not
Because
struggling.
you find fun in business and I don't.
No, it's not about fun in business. You see, you're providing a service, by the way. It's not that you're struggling. You're providing a service. I'm providing a service. We are both providing service of nowhere. We don't have a product. Your skill is your product, because you develop a lot of digital things and websites and applications, and you consult a lot of people in terms of digitalizing the thing. That excites you, and at the same time, I've seen you giving an idea. You would be so passionate about it, explaining how the whole thing works to me in an hour as well. That shows your. I mean, this is not self. This is you're doing for somebody else, but that shows your selflessness in terms of passion towards doing something. But if you give me a topic like this, or a subject like in terms of money, or in subject like how we could make money, that excites me to talk about. Okay, maybe can we do that? Can we do this one? But if you see, every man carries that within. I mean, unless you are paralyzed, physically disabled, mentally constructed by
Or
the
gender
external.
fluid.
Yeah, so these things were affecting you. Yeah, okay, have you ever noticed the people who are securities of the building? If they leave the job here, he goes home and does still a security job for a bank.
Yeah.
Because these guys have mentally been kind of built for
Limited
5-10
themselves.
years.
Limited themselves to stay.
One is limited, and actually they created a boundary within themselves. They say that wherever I go, I'm going to only get security job. That's why every time I look at a security, I admire, I look for some time. Then I ask him, what's your plan? What were you before? He said, 8 years, 10 years. The highest form
That
of
happens
experience.
with me, a lot of cab drivers here.
Yeah, so cab drivers, because their mindset have conceived them or swallowed them, and they would only live like that and all their life.
Yeah, that is one thing that I've seen, which is from you, is that every week you come up with something and come up with something new, and it is sometimes it is like, okay, how many things that you will do, and you are able to manage all of that. And even if you see you last week you're talking about promising brands, and the week before that we were talking about Niam, and the week before that we were talking about tradesmen. So if you come up with a lot of things and you don't limit yourself to say, okay, you are doing well in events, let's stay in events.
See, that the whole idea is the good thing about for us working together on, okay, even take this show or taking this one, if somebody give you a certain edge or a bandwidth, have you noticed that every old people in business have hired young people to work for them?
Yeah.
And have you noticed young people would not be able to survive without old people in terms
True.
of leadership and guidance?
True. Yeah.
Okay, so we understand the business balance very well. It's not trying to say I'm too old and you're too young, or you're too old and I'm young, right? So what I'm trying to make a definition here,
Experience and
the world needs us. The world needs a generation like us.
yeah,
The world
there
needs
needs a stepping stone.
yeah. So and they could use us. But are you a proven company or a proven platform for them to step on you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm into. That everything that I'm trying to build with you and trying to do is not that I'm able to achieve all of that. But at least you give me a track race, you run with me equally to a certain speed for me to stabilize on certain things. At least you understand the narrative of it, so that together we try to see maybe we could try and catch hold of something. So this is what has kept us all this while. So what I'm trying to say is, coming back to the ground, it's not that you're a failure, it's not that you're struggling. You are successful in your own way. Look at what you have come through, and half of your age have not made it up. Whether not even a show or not even something that life they have come up in their life. But I'm not trying to compare and contrast here. That's something that I never did. There are a few of my friends, they're very successful here in Dubai, by the way.
Yeah.
They're in very big companies, directors, and large positions, and vice presidents. They are here. But am I comparing myself with them and their income? They may be too big and earning a lot of money, happily blessed with kids and families and lifestyle. The one thing that I have cultivated myself is I have ordained with a certain capacity and a certain gift of my own. I would not, for a sake on L, would dilute it with anybody else, because I'm gifted in my way, and you are gifted, and our viewers are gifted in a certain way. The moment you try to contrast and compare, that's the first beginning of the downfall that anybody would have.
True.
Yeah, the moment you do that, you're the first failure of life. Because believe what you could, believe what you have done, believe how far you have come. And that itself is more than enough for you to be a shooting star in today's world.
Yeah. Did you hear the news that one female was arrested in Dubai for shouting? The headline was, "Women arrested in Dubai, American women arrested in Dubai for shouting." And I was shocked. I was like, okay, usually Dubai is UAE as a country, they safeguard females. Females are a priority. We safeguard them. Then I started reading the news article. Then it said an African American woman was arrested. Then I was like, okay, you shouldn't do that, but okay, I get it. I was like, okay, I get it, for shouting. You understand the African American attitude and loud mouth, and I get it because
Women have a certain place in this part of the world, and they should be in a certain place in this part of the world, according to their beliefs, according to their religion, according to various factors, and they're loved for it, and they are clothed with a certain way as a treasure. If you see, every woman part of the Middle East are clothed with treasure.
Because there's a certain kind of respect.
There's a kind of respect, one, from the external element, but you see everybody's settled covering they have on themselves. It's because they believe that they are a treasure for the future. Now, of this kind of exercise of someone who's coming from the different part of the world, trying to stand as an opposition to the respect that they have on the women, would contradict the systems within.
Yeah, essentially what they're trying to say is, don't bring your American attitude or
not necessarily
Western attitude here, because you can imagine when to get arrested for shouting at somebody, how loud she have to be shouting.
Okay, let me define first of all women here. There are three aspects to a woman. Either they're pretty, one.
Careful.
Yeah, no. The one is pretty.
Okay.
The second is being elegant. The third one is being sexy. Now,
It's the same thing, right?
no, you can see sexy. The problem is with your eyes here, because there is a possibility where women can be both elegant and sexy and pretty to all things they do together. But what here? What wins always?
Hmm.
Elegance. Elegance always wins.
True.
Right? Now, looking at the factors from the women's perspective, but none of these things are exposed here, if you look at it.
True.
All are hidden as a treasure. And that's what the whole environment needs it. But the moment something intrudes that environment with certain kind of audacity, that will be restricted. Yes, there was an
Yeah,
arrest.
because there is a different kind of a message being sent out.
But, and that they're trying to restrict from the environment. They don't have anything against whether the nationalism, the Western, the American, they don't have anything as such. But what they have is the message that passed in the environment.
Yeah,
which,
but the weird part is that when I read the article, when they mentioned it was Western women, I said, okay, I get it. Why they would do that? Why that action was taken? Because and one more thing, an influencer woman. It's not a normal tourist. She was an influencer, so she got that LA vibe going on. That she's the queen kind of vibe going on. And yeah, I mean, it was an international news because she was an influencer. She's from West America. And the idea of women coming here and spreading this kind of a message is what they're trying to avoid.
yeah, see, one thing about the whole of system, if you see, there are 5-track and 10-track roads. There's a sense of discipline from the transportation. There's a sense of discipline from the handling the people or the public systems here, right? But imagine, for the size of this country, if this policy is overlooked.
Yeah.
And the kind of population that is here would take things seriously for an advantage. Okay, let me put it in simple words. There is no room for politics here.
Yep.
There's no room. We do not have any room for politics. That's what I love about the country here. They don't have any room for politics here. Neither they want to get themselves involved.
Yeah, since there is no politics, there is no division, there is no divided people. We are all together here.
Yeah, of course, because the systems are too strong
Yeah.
to run for a generation. And they be a lot of R&D to bring into AI and trying to structure for the betterment of the world. They're trying, not they're trying to say that they'll be left out, but at least they are not trying to even compete. They just want to be number one, and they're striving towards, their mission is very clear in what they're running for.
What they call the ISRO Chandrayaan 3 is about to land this month, end of this month, and on moon. That's a big step for India.
Okay.
India and space research. Yeah.
See, now, if you look at the whole technological advancements, every technological advancement is by one thing, can function with one thing.
Curiosity.
Not curiosity. It cannot function without internet. No technology in the world can function without internet. Now,
Okay.
and from where does this internet gets operated? On what basis?
You're talking about satellites and fiber cables and stuff.
Okay, so everything is functioned based on satellites.
Not everything. I mean, this mission is not about.
Any communication relays without satellite would not function. Any communication you talk about.
Not really. Most of our internet is provided by fiber optic cables. Satellites are used, but it's more underground. It's more underground than satellite. We've got the antennas there, right? Like the huge ones. So these are ground based, and there is both land based and
Okay, do you
space
think?
based.
Okay,
But
let's say
Chandrayaan,
land-based.
Chandrayaan
No,
is
no,
all
I'm coming to a point because we're talking about Chandrayaan yet. I'm trying to relate to I'm trying to create a foundation for why Chandrayaan is. Now, you spoke about land and space and satellites, and you spoke about fiber optics and all of that. But no matter what, all these functionalities that they function, end of the day, there needs a centralized system that needs to cover. Okay, now we talk about Wi-Fi. that works from our home signals to here. And what you talk about, okay, you call on your cell phone now. Somebody from America answers the phone. You still say, is fiber optics working?
Not when it comes to telephone. No,
No, you call
telephones
from
are-
your phone to a cell phone.
Yeah,
Do you think fiber optics
there is
working?
there is satellite telephones, but most of the connections, I mean, in terms of in India, you have the antennas, so those are optical cables connections. But here we don't have the antennas, so it is satellite connections. So it's
Okay.
there a mix of this and that.
But if you look at the relay now, okay, now everything is streamlined, online review, all of things. Okay, now live telecast and all of those things. There is a provision, okay, like you said, fiber optics and all of that can be relayed. But anything that is internationally relayed around the world is spread. It does not happen without, okay, things that are happening live broadcast here. Is it you're still telling it's fiber optics in India that is working with our cables and networks that has been interconnected?
Not really. I mean, it is a
Mix of both, yeah. Okay, now we get that. So what all the world have understood, the race of advancements for the speed is space.
Yeah.
That's why there is a race for space. If you look at for the last 3 years,
mean,
or
if
5
you-
years, you talk about UAE, you talk about Saudi, you talk about Russia, you talk about America, you talk about South Korea, all are after space.
Yeah. I mean, that is the next feat to control.
Yeah, because you see, the earlier you go there, the better you can manage, because the population growth as well. You talk about billions of people around the world. You can't really manage on the old systems.
Yeah, but
You can't manage things on the old ways.
the best part about the Chandrayaan mission, ISRO mission, is that this is the first time a country is going to the south pole of the moon, the dark side of the moon, this opposite side of the moon that we don't see.
I mean, hats off to the, technological advancement of India, because you see, sometimes I look at the names of the flights, which is really kind of a little bit of, of course, it has its national names associated with this, like Tejas, and rockets' names are quite different.
You can say the name, you can blur it.
Yeah, no, it's like Bimas, and these are the, or Rajas of name of the flight. The missiles
okay,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, okay.
It's a very typical Indian name that they have, which is good for those for their. But the first time now you're talking about Chandrayaan, I think I'm not saying they're competing, because you see our ISRO is built. Yes, they have a huge R&D budget. At the same time, they build on the foundations.
Cost-effective travel.
Yeah, cost-effective travel and all that. So this is what.
Yeah, I mean, even
it's astonishing.
When it comes to NASA, they were actually surprised the amount of money spent per rocket when compared to NASA. ISRO, the idea was cost-effective space travel or cost-effective space research.
But if you look at it, we don't have any private companies like SpaceX and.
Yeah, we got SpaceX. We got the one from Blue, something called Blue, from the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos. There is two.
Blue Origin.
Yeah, Blue Origin. So, the difference is ISRO and NASA and other space agencies, government-controlled space agencies, are based on space research, sending people for research purposes, building.
Okay, what are they researching for? Tell me.
Alternative place to live, or an alternative fuel source, or an alternative, anything that is alternative is what they are looking for. But when it comes to Blue Origin, they are more of a space tourism.
It's like Ocean Gate that went into the submersion.
Space tourism kind of. You go take people and bring them back. That sort. While SpaceX is all about,
again, the R&D
similar to research, but it is all about coming back, reusing the materials. You need to go, but you need the rocket to come back in one piece without losing money. That is SpaceX mission. So there is a difference. But end of August, it's August, right? Yeah, end of August you'll see if it lands properly. We can see some pictures that we haven't seen before.
It would 100% land perfectly.
Yeah, both of
the kind of R&D would have done is not. India's R&D is very strong.
Well, that is happening in 2 days back. It was Independence Day for India and Pakistan. Have you seen the Twitter war going on? It was trending.
Yeah, I think it's because of the I think the flags or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the same Independence Day, and both Indians and Pakistanis were gathered 12 o'clock to see their flag on Burj Khalifa. And unfortunately, they didn't show Pakistani flag for the Pakistan's flag that night. They were supposed to show it the next day. So people didn't knew that. And there was like a huge, our Indian media took it up and made fun of Pakistan, and it was a lot of mess. And our media was
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
yeah,
you
Indian
see,
flags comes first, and this kind of so much bullshit.
see, one
was
thing
there.
that you need to understand is any larger economy in the world will tease another larger economy in the world. Talk about Russia, America. We talk about India. I mean, there's a lot that you can see in the mission, and a lot of people speak on their opinions. A lot of people are being pulled down for. A lot of people are being appreciated for. Right now, if it's happening in some of the world, like let's just talk about it in the Middle East, of course, people will talk about it. But there was no harm in what I mean, especially.
I mean, it is. I mean, I'm Indian, you're Indian. It's disrespectful, isn't it, to berate a country for. I mean, we are basically the same people here in UAE. There is no Pakistani, there is no Indian. We are the same people, and to make fun of one
No,
country doesn't make sense. And
okay. Now I'll tell you what's happening. I mean, this hatred thing and this. Do you know that man heart is continuously wicked? You know that.
Yeah.
It just does not like if somebody have something better. I mean,
True.
that happens from home.
True.
That happens from neighbors. That happens in office. That happens in your beauty. That happens in everything.
Yeah, we are all a jealous kind of
Not
people.
jealous. I will not use the word jealous. Let me put it this way: we are a person who's continuously hated. But you know the best thing about the war, because they were part of us and they're no longer part of India anymore. The best thing for people is there's a kind of, if you ask people why are you against, they don't know. Some even they don't know the history. Some even they don't know the president's name and all of that. Some
but
they don't know any politician's name.
Yeah, but the hatred stays.
That it's just because that brought it down in sports before. If you look at the cricket matches in the past and some of the world matches that used to happen, it was always been some kind of what do you call? I wouldn't say the hatred does. It's some kind of a glitch in the process. Not well
There is
now.
there is a division between people. Yeah.
Yeah, but they won't call it as a division. But there was some kind of a mindset that they carried throughout. But it's a long awaited, and people have come out.
Yeah,
with it.
not on the national day. It doesn't make sense. Like people
No,
are
that's
there.
the only day that you could do. Which other day that you have a chance to do either?
It's true.
Yeah, and because you see, you're talking about part of us, and then they divide it. So the best thing for them to do is to drag people, and the social media is full of that, and people are talking about it. But end of the day, what does it matter?
Yeah, but
it is wrong.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
It
shouldn't happen.
As a community staying here, it shouldn't happen. You shouldn't divide within UAE and make fun of even Indian media. You shouldn't make a fun of them because of their, what do you call it? The flag came 5 minutes later.
No, there's nothing as so-called fun aspect of it. But I'll tell you what aspect. It not also the hatred. It's just about how you've been infused from a very young stage in the world that you've been coming from. Just that why you're hated, you have no idea. What's the problem that you have no idea. But just that you don't like it.
Yeah, but you need to do something. You need to get into Twitter because I'm having so much fun. You need to get into Twitter and start.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I
like Twitter because it is open. There is no what do you call it? Censorship. It's not like Threads or it's not like Instagram. There is no censorship and people can say what they want to say. So it is too interesting for me to like, and entertaining also to see these tweets of people and how it is divided. You should get into Twitter.
No, I mean, I'm there to Twitter, but I
you don't use it. You need to use it.
I put my logical content and just leave it. You don't get into anybody's business there.
You need to, boss. Yeah, doing podcast, you need to start stirring some shit up.
No, it's
you
not
need to
about
sit here like this.
It's not about stirring up. I tell you what the systems are. See, I'm here for only one reason. Because it's I wouldn't say it's I'm somebody people need to believe on my logic and my opinions and all of that. No, it's not about that. It's about, you see, the success. I mean, the success factor. Do you know the information? The information. Do you know the difference between the rich and the poor? It's not about the money. The difference between the rich and poor. You know what's the difference? The information the rich have.
Yeah, they have more access to more.
It's not about access. The information they have is what they're running on. The poor don't have that information. That's why poor is poor and the rich is rich.
Yeah, the poor stay poor.
Yeah, so now what we're doing is information that we're giving it to the
that
viewers.
Is the same reason why, I mean, I have a respect for Twitter is that information is shared without bias. There is no bias for sharing the information.
Yeah, but in terms of argumentative, we are not into argumentative here. We're just into telling that what we believe in. We're not here to stand against or stand for any parts of the world or anything as such. But we are here just to tell what our logic and what our thought is. But anyway, as we are rounding off, we appreciate for all the viewers around the world. And thank you for being a part of us. And thank you for being a part of Ace&Beyond Show. And until we see us again.
And we will have an episode next week. We will have a guest. And we will watch Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay, we will watch and we will have a guest again. And big appreciation for the Mac Studios as well, to being a part of... MAP Studios. Thank you very much, guys, for being a part of. And thank you, everybody, the crew and the team, for being a part of us, part of this show. And we are hoping for a lot of shows coming up in the days to come. Thank you very much.
We'll see you on next week.
See you all. Thank you.
That was fun.